What would you do if you only had an acre and wanted to get into farming, crops or livestock? For crops, and especially for livestock, an acre isn't a lot. For crops, you're going to be looking at doing mixed vegetables. The thing about that, though, is as many hoop houses and greenhouses as you might be able to get into an acre, a lot of people forget that there's a lot of support infrastructure you have to put up. You're probably going to need a pack shed. You might need cold storage. You might need, your water's got to come from somewhere. You need somewhere covered to stick a walk-behind tractor or a regular tractor. All of your implements, equipment, supplies, like that stuff starts to eat up space really quickly. Like you could wind up seeing 20-30% of your space being used up just for storing all the stuff you need to farm your vegetables. And livestock, even stuff with a low footprint like chickens or even quail, not really. You're just not going to have the space to do it humanely in the numbers that you're going to need. Now, I am assuming that when you say get into farming, you're talking about get into farming so that you can do it for a living. If you're just looking for a supplemental income, you might want to look back a few TikToks where I talked about the 5 best businesses to get into, because I think pretty much all of those, if I'm remembering them correctly, would work well on 1 acre if you weren't relying on it to make your living. Something else that's not mentioned in that TikTok is beekeeping. Again, that last list was for people that might want to be making a living from it. But if you're just looking for a side hustle, a little bit extra money, something to put your land in agricultural use, whatever, honeybees can be pretty good for that as well. They mostly go vertical. You can do a lot with not a whole heck of a lot of space. But generally speaking, when you talk about farming, making a living, 1 acre is going to get real tight real fast. And that's assuming that like it's a perfect 1 acre. Like the entire acre is arable and has good soil. It's not hilly, doesn't have a bunch of gullies in it. It's not swampy, doesn't have wet feet everywhere. If it's not overly dry, like there's a lot that could affect how much of that acre you might be able to use. If you've got questions about farming, feel free to drop them in the comments. Otherwise, like or follow to stay on Farm Talk.